This is Elias Dufexes. You're watching That Tom Clancy Show.
Thank you, Elias, and hello, everybody, and welcome to another all-new episode of That Tom Clancy Show. I am, of course, your host, Mr. That Tom Clancy, everybody's favorite robot in the hoodie. So, hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Real quick, even though I already said this, penguins are epic. Thank you so much for the follow. We've got you, we've got Fictional Cat, we've got Nick there in chat. Sorry. I'm just making sure that my screen resolution is high enough that I can actually read what you guys are saying in chat. And yes, Nick, this is in fact filmed in front of a live studio audience. I can't see them. I'm just assuming that they're there. Lumino Games, David is a cookie. Wow, you should really stay away from Sesame Street. But welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. So for all of you first timers, I'm Tom. I do this performance capture, like kind of talk show thing, where I sit down with game developers, artists, writers, all sorts of people. And we sit down, we talk for about an hour, we have some fun, we have some laughs. Occasionally it gets really serious. And then we rinse and repeat the next day. Lumino Games, thank you so much for that follow. Also, just to let you all know, if you have any questions for my guests at any point in the show, feel free to throw them up in chat. I've got the window right here. I'll be able to see it, pass those along and everything. But you're not here to listen to me talk and prattle on for several minutes, which is a good thing you picked today to show up and not the other day, because I don't have any jokes or a monologue prepared like I usually do. I'm just kind of making it all up as I go along. So, my guest today hails from the Down Under, which is evident as you can see in their game, as all of the animals there are trying to kill you. And Bits and Pixels, please welcome me in joining Kris. Kris, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty well, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Yeah, just slugging along.
I can understand that. How are things in tomorrow?
Saturday here in the morning. Things are okay. Yeah, at the moment I'm in coronavirus lockdown, so we can only leave the house for 2 hours a day. But other than that, it's all right. Yeah.
Okay, so just real quick on that, because I know over here in the States, we basically have completely botched our response to everything. But you say like lockdown, like you guys, is it like a state or province by province, I guess, kind of thing? Or is it city by city? Okay.
State by state, with city, the city that I'm in have this like the strictest lockdown in the world at the moment. So I'm in Melbourne. Wow. And basically we're only allowed to leave the house to exercise and shop and like go to the doctors. And when I say shop, I mean like shop for essentials.
Yeah.
So
that's unfortunate because we really love your opera house.
Yeah, that's the state up. So I think in Sydney you can do a bit more. So Sydney you can have gatherings of like 20 people or something along those lines, but not in Melbourne at the moment.
Sorry, I was just trying for a simple troll there. So I am well aware that the Opera House is in Canberra, but no.
Okay.
But first question of the show, Nick wants to know: is everything really upside down there?
I wouldn't know because I'm sort of upside down too, so everything looks the right way up to me.
Oh, well, I guess that. All right, yeah. Sorry. Work, damn you. But no, yeah, that sounds nice. Aside from all of the animals that want to murder you,
yeah,
which there are a lot. I mean, what are the nice ones? Like let's look at this, right? So you have salt and freshwater crocodiles, both predators. Both will eat people if given the chance. You've got kangaroos, which
they can be friendly.
Yeah, but they'll kill you.
True.
You've got drop bears, which will kill you. You've even have birds that will attempt to kill you.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
And
funny story. Yeah, I live. So, do you know much about magpies?
No,
The
those are the
Australian bird
ones
that
I am.
swoops.
Those are the ones that I am directly referencing because I
Yeah.
feel not a week goes by that I don't see a video of people cycling through wherever in Australia without magpies trying to kill them.
Yeah. So, funny story. Where I live, I noticed that the magpies around here don't actually swoop. They're, you can walk down the street and they'll be there on the nature strip right next to you and not react at all. They don't even like run away from you. And a couple weeks back, I was walking around the neighborhood and saw a dude sitting on his front step feeding something like 30 magpies. They were all looking up at him adoringly. And he was just like hand feeding them. So I think in my area, the magpies are really friendly because they're really used to people. But it's the only place in Australia that I've had that experience.
It's interesting you
Usually
say.
they hate you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say used to people as if people haven't been there forever.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like literal forever of humanity. There have been people in Australia. So I think they're just jerks. Or they're doing the long play. So
Potentially.
yeah, I mean, they're trying to lull you into that false sense of security, and then they'll just go, bam, gotcha.
Take your eyes out. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
hope not.
Well, I hope not to, for reasons we'll get into as the show progresses. But the first question I generally ask people is, what are you playing right now?
Unfortunately, I haven't been playing too much of anything because I've been so busy working. But a couple weeks ago, I was playing a bit of Risk of Rain 2. I really love that game. And Path of Exile is one that I play here and there as well.
Nice.
It's, the depth of Path of Exile just sort of really scratches an itch. Yeah.
I can
Have you
definitely
played
understand
those
that. No, I haven't. Like you, I don't have the opportunity to play too many games. I think yesterday was the first time. Yeah, yesterday was the first time I sat down and like played a game. I don't even know in how long. Because it's like when I have guests who have demos for their games, like very clearly I play the demo. But outside of that, it's I'm trying to get this trying to book new guests for the show, trying to fix things up. Like honestly, because I wasn't 100% positive that your name was Kris until we started talking before the show. So even leading up to right before the show, the ticker right in front of you had Kris ?
Yeah, I should make that clearer on my social media.
I mean, hey man, like I'm not going to tell people that they need to have their names out in places if they're not comfortable with it. But it's just like, just from my perspective, it's kind of interesting because I'm like, I come in, days like today where I'll come in and I will literally just have no idea what the person's name is until 2 minutes before airtime. Keeps me on my toes, keeps me young,
Yeah, that's the internet.
Yeah, right. See that, Nick? I'm young. Funny enough, I feel the story mode slows me down. Yeah, let's see. Penguins are epic. Seems to be a fan of Risk of Rain as well, playing some swords and magic and stuff recently too. Path of Exile is pretty good.
I played that a little bit as well, actually. Yeah.
And
it just released the other day. Yeah.
Oh, nice. And hello, CassX9.
Hey, Cass, how's it going?
Or Cass times 9. Who knows? I don't. Cass probably does. But yeah, I mean, that is the life of a developer, no matter what they're working on. There's never enough time for things outside of work and what you're actively trying to get out to the audience.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah, I was a little sad there wasn't a Lucen demo, but that's okay.
It's not too far off. Yeah.
Nice. You heard it here first, folks. Not too far off. I don't know what that means down in Australia, but in the US, that means within the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's
So-
something along those lines.
Well, before we get going too far, for everyone who isn't aware of the game that Kris is working on, there's a nice little trailer which I'm going to play for you right now. Well, I'm pretty sure you've heard this from a bunch of other people, but that's a pretty good trailer.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it does a good job of giving us an idea of what we're going to be doing in the game, which is amazing because so few trailers do that. So you get a point for that one. That is now the sound of points happening. I have decided this right now. So, in your own words, tell us about Lucen.
Sure. So Lucen is a story of a young boy who has to leave his village on a quest to ask the old gods for some help restoring light to it. So you wake up to find your village shrouded in darkness and have to venture out into the unknown, fight mythical creatures, and explore the environment to learn its secrets, and ultimately travel to a nearby mountain to ask the old gods living at the top for help.
So, I don't know what the lore of your world is, but
It's
I
sort
can
of-
say from my perspective, and especially when you have like Cthulhu looking statues, old gods aren't going to be of any help.
Well, that's the question. Yeah, whether they're gonna help or not, what they think of you, if they think of you.
I
That's all gonna be part of the game.
I have a weird feeling that they. Well, I don't know what I'm actually having weird feelings about, but I definitely have some concerns about going to old gods and asking for help. Just putting that one out there.
Yeah, they're valid concerns for sure.
Yeah. Because the first time I watched that trailer, I didn't really catch on the whole like old gods thing, and I was like, oh, cool. There's like an octopus thing, and then the next time I watched, I was like, this is gonna end badly. So, Penguins Are Epic says in chat, Lucen is a game that inspired me to do more game dev. Haven't been able to make much progress recently, though, since I've been stuck on a thing. Hey, Penguin, that's all right, man. You're trying, and that's what's important. So, yeah, and something that I also thought Nick is echoing in chat, that this game looks very reminiscent, at least artistically, of Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild is one of the visual influences for sure. Yeah.
Nice. How big of a team are you working with, just out of curiosity?
So at the moment, I'm the sole developer, and I'm working with an animator, a sound designer, and a composer.
Okay.
Yeah. But in
So
terms of putting the game together,
yeah, so are you doing all of the art in there as well, or are you working with? Okay, yeah, I mean, you couldn't leave the spiders out, could you?
yeah. Well, I'm tossing up the whole the thing that Grounded did, which is like having an option to switch the spiders for something less spooky. But we'll see whether I get to that or not.
Like look. I hate spiders. I am relatively afraid of spiders. I freely admit that they have a very important part to play in our ecosystem. And as I've gotten older, I have learned to live and let live with them, so long as they follow my rules. But I don't live with Australian spiders. And
Yeah, in
believe
Australia they
me, no, that's flamethrower territory. Uh,
don't.
So leave the spiders. I hate them, but leave them there. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Cass on this one too. Like, dude, don't get me wrong. Like with your spiders, I feel it's a little bit more okay because relative to the spiders, you're still larger, as opposed to Grounded, where they are the size of like battle tanks.
Yeah, well, you're only larger than the spiders you've seen so far.
You know what?
There
And
might be
like boss
some big
spiders
ones.
totally should be bigger. You know, got to get some Shelob love in there. So, see, that was a Lord of the Rings joke.
Yeah.
We do the deep cuts here on that Tom Clancy show. But I thought it was funny. So, yeah, I mean, it's like that's a lot of work for just one person. Clearly.
It's been challenging, yeah.
I mean,
But,
have you been contracting artists to help out as well, or has this just been a very long process for you in particular?
Yeah, just the animator that I've contracted so far. So he's working on, at the moment, Lucen's combat animations and stuff like that. And we'll be doing like the beast animations as well. But everything else, visually, I'm responsible for.
Nice.
So it's yeah, it's been a process, but I'm using Houdini, which is a software that's used in visual effects, which can sort of speed up the process quite a bit by proceduralizing a lot of aspects.
Oh,
So that helps a
nice.
lot.
Yeah, I am aware of, but not familiar with Houdini. I've been working in and around Maya off and on for like the last 5-6 years. So yeah, is every time there's a new software out there, it's like I gotta learn a new thing, and then it's expensive, and you know how it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah, for sure.
So why Lucen? You know, like very clearly this is a large game. Uh, why are you building a gigantic thing as opposed to something, say, a little bit more focused?
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be focused in terms of the gameplay, and the storyline itself is going to be quite linear while existing in an open world. But I guess the idea for Lucen sort of came when I was a teenager, brainstorming with some friends about what our ideal game would be if we were to make it. And we came up with this idea about a kid who has to sort of leave his village because it runs out of light, basically, and he has to go on a quest to ask the gods to help restore light, and that's sort of the basis for what Lucen became, yeah. And
Nice.
I worked in visual effects for a while, and once I realized that I could sort of transfer those skills to game dev, I thought, oh, now I sort of might have the means to actually make the thing that I want to make. So I'm going to give it a try, and that's where we are.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always interesting because there are always so many different reasons where people will tackle certain particular projects. And it's always, especially when people are working with something big, I'm always like, dude, what's wrong with you? You know, because, big games are, well, big. And when we have big vision, we also have a tendency to kind of feature creep ourselves and go way outside of scope. So,
Big time, yeah.
yeah. So, what are some of the things that you have done to kind of limit yourself from stepping over that line?
Yeah, at the very like base of its design, Lucen is sort of built around being able to scale based on like team size and scope. So I have the sort of plan for if it was just me making it. If I didn't even have an animator on board, it would look one way, and then based on how long I actually get to work on it, some features may or may not exist in it, and yeah, the way all the systems work, I'm sort of leaning towards like a heavily data driven system with like stats, stuff like that, which is once the core of that is in place, it's relatively easy to build on compared to sort of making many bespoke things. So things like the weapon system, they can be procedurally generated, that sort of stuff.
Nice. So you're making a lot of small level decisions to make the larger level decisions a lot more reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely. And making sure that everything I do is sort of designed in a modular and procedural way that can sort of be built upon by using the same concepts that I've applied previously.
I have this weird feeling that you spent a lot of time in pre-production doing a lot of spreadsheets and planning.
It might shock you, but I sort of just jumped into it and I've been planning as I went.
What is wrong with you? No. How are you able to do this? How much coffee do you drink on a daily basis? And can you give me some?
To be honest.
But
yeah, I find it's easy to sort of be flexible and adapt when I keep my planning a bit looser. So I've sort of changed direction a little bit as I've gone through the process. Yeah. Because circumstances change.
That's just yeah, you're just that. I was having problems putting that all into words, but yeah, just that is that is just very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Impressive.
Thank you.
So don't let it go to your head.
I mean, I feel like I'm flailing sometimes, so I definitely don't feel impressive. Yeah, but
well, the important thing is never let them see you flail.
Exactly. Yeah.
Unless you have like a flail, at which point you probably shouldn't let them see you do it because you're probably going to attack. But if they see you coming with it, then they're going to die scared. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I need a flail. Wait, I don't have a flail, but I have an F. So like, you're just swinging it and then you just like go to brain them with it, I think it's the first time I've threatened a guest with violence.
That's cool.
So first time, I'm glad it was you. Historically, our countries have always been friends, but hey, 2020, crazier things could still happen.
Anything could happen.
Oh man, like you just imagine. I just imagine right now that like in Vegas and several other gambling hubs, like there are people who are literally just taking bets on anything that could happen in 2020 still. It's like, the pandemic was a thing and everybody's like, well, who had pandemic? And then it's just like there's some dude sitting there with like his 100-to-1 odds of like Cthulhu rising from the Pacific, and just I really think that's probably a thing. I mean, hey, people are weird. People do weird things. So you're building an Unreal Engine. Good job.
Yeah, that's
right. So how has your experience been with Unreal so far?
It's been really positive. Yeah, I sort of, before I even got into visual effects, I had played around with Unreal. I originally picked it up because I wanted to do architectural visualization with it. sort of like my goal, it was in 2016 or around there. I really wanted to sort of make virtual reality ArcViz projects, like large scale stuff, because there's not that much of it, and it's a really cool concept. But then I sort of ended up getting into visual effects, and games is ultimately where I've wanted to be since I was a kid. So yeah, sort of slowly ended up there. And yeah, Unreal is super intuitive to use and has a lot of integration with Houdini. So Houdini has a plugin where you can sort of basically use your Houdini files inside Unreal and change them on the fly in the editor. So
Nice.
yeah, it makes sense to use.
Well, it kind of covers my next question, which is going to be, why Unreal over something else? Because, there's a lot of game engines out there now. I mean, Godot. I mean, is Lumberyard still a thing? The Amazon
I'm
one?
not sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like at one point, Lumberyard was out there. Unity. I mean, very clearly, you aren't going to make this in Game Maker. No offense to Game Maker, it's a lovely engine. But you can't do 3D in it.
I've seen some pretty cool pseudo 3D stuff in Game Maker though.
Yeah, and I've seen some really cool like pseudo 2D stuff in Unreal.
Yeah, that's true.
Looking at you, Octopath Traveler. I mean,
well,
I'm just glad you're not building in Blender.
Blender game engine.
Blender does have a game engine, apparently. I discovered this earlier this year.
I don't think it's supported anymore.
It is not, actually. Yeah. I literally throw that one out there because, Nick, I didn't even say anything this time. Nick, you don't have to say anything. You made the decision to make a game in Blender. That's all you had to do. You're not being bullied. I'm making jokes at your expense. There's a difference.
To be fair, Blender is pretty great, so I can definitely understand the allure of staying within it.
Okay, you are no longer allowed on the show. No, after years of working in Maya and 3ds Max and stuff like that, Blender makes no sense.
It's really interesting that you say that, because I feel like, because I used Maya quite a lot in the past and Max as well, and once I learned Houdini, I started to really dislike those softwares. So now I prefer Houdini and Blender, and it just made it easier, I guess, for me to see what I wanted from other software and where it wasn't meeting my needs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah, Blender it has buttons and weird places, and they just don't make any.
The layout
sense.
is hard to get used to. I don't actually use Blender for Lucen. I just know about it, and I've used it in the past.
I mean, I can't hold that against you. Too much.
And it's free. I mean, it's really good to see innovative tech free.
Yeah, it's free. It's open source. It's, I can't knock it. I just don't like it.
That's fair enough. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, because there's so many great things being done in Blender, like Blender Guru with his donut thing that everybody makes.
A fellow Aussie, yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. Tom, stop giving the Aussies compliments. Come on. All right. But yeah, I mean, so you're building this crazy game as one crazy person. I presume for crazy platforms, because I mean, we know you're targeting PC because it's on Steam.
Yep.
And if you like that trailer, you should go wishlist it because it really helps him out. But are you looking to also move into the platforms as well, or just stick with the PC market?
I would love to have it available on console as well, for sure. it's something that I guess might depend on whether I get a publishing partner in the future, sort of what that would look like.
Yeah.
But platforms that I would love to have it on, I mean, pretty much all the consoles. The current and next gen, and the Switch are all awesome. And any of those would be great to have it on. Yeah, Switch is the one that's requested the most. A lot of people have said they want to see it on the Switch. Yeah,
I can't
but
imagine why
I don't
people
have
would,
anything to confirm at the moment.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, I can't understand why anybody would want to put, games on a just really fun and easy little handheld console that they could take anywhere in the world with them.
Exactly.
Although, I mean, it's not like you can travel anywhere in the world right now, but you get my point. Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, the Switch is awesome. I mean, unfortunately, mine is sitting unplugged off camera over that way. But, it's there.
Mm.
My only complaint about it is that you can't get a matching pair of those blue Joy-Cons. Because, that's all I want. I mean, I specifically got the gray one because I didn't want the mismatched ones. And then I was like, I would have bought 2 sets of Joy-Cons if they'd offered them in the alternate colors so you could have a matching set. But no. Where'd that cup go? Oh, wow. That went real far. That was a yeet. But yeah, it's the Switch is a very not powerful. That's a completely incorrect word, but a very interesting and fun platform. And I mean, it's just, especially who would have thought that Nintendo would be the indie friendly platform in, 2018 to 2020.
Mm.
I mean, we all knew it wasn't going to be Sony because Sony gonna Sony. But I mean, Xbox built so much credit in the indie community with Xbox Live Arcade and all of that huge push in the late 2000s, the early 2010s. And it's just and then all of a sudden Nintendo's all like, hey, what's up? We're back in the game. And sure enough, they were. So,
yeah. It's actually quite a fantastic little piece of tech as well.
It is. I mean,
the first console to have solid state memory as well. Yeah, because it's using flash memory.
I'm just wait a second. Does it even have memory? I mean,
I mean as the drive. Yeah.
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 I mean, it's a very interesting choice, and I mean, it's solid piece of hardware, and I really appreciate that the cartridges do taste horrible. And yes, I did verify that they taste horrible. Look, man, I won't do a Tide Pod challenge, but you tell me that a little Switch thing is specifically flavored terribly to make babies not eat it. Yeah, I'm going to try it.
I didn't know that. What's it taste like?
Awful. I honestly, it's been pretty much 2 years since I did that. But yeah, it's like a tongue scalding flavor.
Yikes!
Is the easiest way to put it.
Sounds like a good deterrent, though.
Yeah, it actually hurts to taste it, and not in not like a pepper way. You get a really hot chili or something like that. No, this is just it tastes like pain.
Wow.
So now
that said, one prove it to myself.
I don't condone tasting game cartridges at all, but you guys are adults and you can do whatever you want. So just know that I didn't condone it, and don't blame me for it because I take no responsibility.
Sounds good.
Licking a Switch cartridge is a gamer rite of passage. Chroma, I don't think you're wrong, except in your spelling of right in that instance.
Yeah. Licking a Switch cartridge is the 2020 equivalent of blowing in your Nintendo 64 cartridge.
I mean, blowing in your N64 cartridge was what passed for your childhood, but was old news for old man Tom.
Super Nintendo cartridges as well. Yeah, I know.
Or NES cartridges or
NES,
Atari 2600 cartridges. Uh, Sir, I'm an old gamer. I just act young and live in this robot body, which is ageless.
It's pretty cool. I like the setup you've got.
Thank you. I mean, it took a while. We started back there in the garage. And then I just kind of like as a joke, I opened the door and I found all of this out here. You know, like I did 49 episodes in that stinking garage, and this was here the whole time. The whole time. So, you know, nobody likes you, garage. That's not true. I like the garage, and now I don't have my pen. The dumb things we do. So what have been some of the like big challenges in building Lucen? I know that my guess would be setting up AI as being one of the main ones, mostly because I suck at behavior trees. And if you want to do something that behaves remotely intelligently, it's got half a complex behavior tree.
Yeah. Yeah, they can be a bit fiddly and unintuitive to use, I think, just compared to sort of how data works in the rest of Unreal.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, yeah, once you sort of like get into them, it's not so bad. UI, I think, is one of the ones I've had more trouble with. It's just the setups are always really convoluted for setting up complex UI and like menus and stuff like that. So I just recently sort of did the player menu, like the inventory, having the different slots that you can switch between and having everything be equipable and usable, stuff like that. That took quite a bit of planning and effort, yeah. But ultimately, it turned out to be fun. So I don't mind working on it because widgets, I hated them when I started, but they're pretty fun now. Yeah.
See, I haven't had as much difficulty with widgets, mostly because I don't ever really try and do anything like super complex with them. But they're really easy to set up, like a quick and dirty kind of functionality. But man, it's hard to make them look pretty.
Yeah, I find that too. I sort of just made it really basic at the start and just worked on the functionality before doing the graphics. I would love to sort of at one point get a proper UI designer on board to do that sort of stuff, because that's one that can definitely benefit from a dedicated professional. Yeah.
Yeah, post-launch goal. You know, once you get like that day one sales money in, and everybody goes, "Oh man, your UI looks terrible." You can be all like, hiring UI designer now, patched in 3 weeks. You know. Yeah. Nice.
That's a good point, actually.
You know, I like to tell everybody on the show that they get one free idea. Everything else after that's going to cost them. That was your free one.
All right, I'm going to take it and run with it. Thank you.
I mean, cool, but you know, I expect some finder's fee for any other ideas. So just putting that one out there. Yeah, I mean, very clearly you can't get too in depth in terms of like your answers on this, but aside from just the visual inspiration, are you also going to be like emulating the kind of like Zelda experience, or are you trying to kind of break out of that and create something more your own?
So funnily enough, I actually haven't played Breath of the Wild, so I'm not necessarily trying to I'm not really influenced by the gameplay side of it, but the older Zelda games and the sort of the single player adventure games that that I grew up playing are definitely a big influence. I I just like the exploration and discovery that comes along with them, and that aspect I definitely love from Zelda. But in terms of the systems and stuff like that, I haven't taken too much from Zelda. Yeah, it's going
I
to be
mean,
its own thing.
yeah,
I
I
think I'm
mean,
more influenced by like Path of Exile and Risk of Rain, and that sort of thing with and Devil May Cry, those sort of games. Which I mean, they're all different games, but those are some of my bigger influences when it comes to the gameplay.
nice. And yeah, Earl, I've had this new set for a couple weeks. Where you been? Either way, I'm happy you're here. I just like giving you a hard time. You know how it goes. We're internet friends. I think I'm internet friends with Earl. Yeah, I mean it
Thanks,
definitely.
Nick.
Yeah, yeah. Nick's a good guy. I had him on the show back in June. I think. I think that's right. Uh, it's all starting to blend together. Um, but yeah, it's just yeah. Sorry, brain. Not. Oh no, that's a guest dab. So sir, Penguins Are Epic has redeemed 500 points to get you to dab.
Oh, all right. Oh, jeez. Is this going to be screenshotted? Here we
I
go.
mean, I'm not going to screenshot it. All right, that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Was it all right?
It was all
Did
right,
I
you know.
from-
Like,
yeah.
I mean, you weren't dabbing for me. You were dabbing for the audience. So, I mean, like the Penguins was that an appropriate dab? Do you think? So, you know, we'll find out. Give them just a
Practicing
moment.
if you can't tell, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Chroma made me dab earlier, and I just kind of, I just work it in to, you know, to what
I
I'm
mean, you don't
doing at
have
the time.
elbows, so it's a bit hard. Yeah.
I mean, it's not that hard. It's just, you know, looks weird without arms. So, Penguin says it was good. It wasn't great, but good.
All right, here we go.
So, oh,
How's that one? Better?
he put some effort into that one. I had a guest on last week who actually broke their headset in their dab. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I just had to make sure that my cords didn't get tangled when I did that.
Okay. Penguins Are Epic seems to be happy with this one. Cass says it's perfect. So, yeah.
I've been watching like the Fortnite and Minecraft convention videos where that's like they all love dabbing. So
You know, I have no idea where dabbing came from. I just know that it's a thing. And my favorite thing with the dab is not like, you know, the Fortnite dances or anything, but there was a gentleman who got elected to either Congress or Senate, I forget which one, several years ago, and he was getting his official photographs taken. And he was there with his teenage son. And every time a picture was taken, his son was just dabbed in the picture. And I'm just looking at this, and I have no idea what this is at the time because I'm an old man and it's hard keeping up with what all the kids are doing. And then I found out, and I was just like, holy shit, he just ruined every one of those photos. And then I found out that his dad was kind of a dick, and I was like, that kid's a national treasure. So
yeah, it's a really interesting phenomenon, like dabbing and the Fortnite dances, and just like how loved they are.
I'm going to blame World of Warcraft for kind of starting all that because so many of the original dances there were started through various internet memes. And then it's just kind of like moved up and up from there, you know, and now it's in Fortnite, now it's in Minecraft, now it's in VR chat, and you know, silly dance moves are just going to be like a part of our future.
I remember the dance parties on the roof in Org. Yeah. I used to participate.
I mean, I didn't, but I remember seeing them.
Yeah.
Penguins are epic. Yeah, I mean, like World of Warcraft was fun, and then I just stopped playing it because
Yeah, me.
uh because I started playing. Yeah, I played for like a decade. Yeah, realized this stream started 8 seconds late. Hey, penguins, it's okay. It's just 8 seconds. Uh, you know, I apologize. We had some technical difficulties. Uh, because I didn't know his name.
It's my bad.
So, yeah, I mean, come on, man. You're making this game solo, but you can't get a dude your name.
Yeah.
Uh,
World of Warcraft is actually one of my biggest gaming influences. I've been chasing that sort of like the feeling that I had when I played WoW, like especially in the early days. I've been chasing that like since then. Nothing sort of comes close. But maybe it's just nostalgia, you know?
It is, and I feel like World of Warcraft came out at this time when MMOs were not accessible. And I don't just mean like in terms of like subscription services and cost and all that stuff. Like none of them were simple. All of them required group effort to do anything. And it was really hard to just be like a new person who gets into that. But with World of Warcraft, it took all of that old model and just said, why do we have to be why do we have to why does it have to be hard? Why can't it be friendly? And they made this game that just resonated with so many people and was simple. People could get into it. You could hang out in Ironforge and Orgrimmar and get groups and actually do content. You could go level 1 to 60 without even having to work with anybody else. Like it was just such a just different experience. And, for a lot of us, like me in particular, it kind of allowed for us to get like kind of hardcore into a game while also not feeling like it was our job.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
So,
Totally.
I mean, because I played through the first 3 expansions hardcore. Yeah, so I was non-competitive rating in Burning Crusade, light rating in original, and then got into competitive for our server, not like world competitive in Wrath of the Lich King, and then in Cataclysm.
Nice.
So it's like, we were like 15 seconds off of server first for the Deathwing kill in Cataclysm. Oh, that was frustrating,
Yeah.
But we did get a couple like meta achievements before everybody else, which was pretty cool. So that was always fun too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good times. But yeah, now it's just like, I don't have the time for things like that anymore. I don't have the community for it. And the game that's kind of like filled that gap for me is Destiny, because I can just log on for a half hour, shoot a bunch of things, feel like I did something cool, and bam, I can go do something else around the house. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing that filled that gap for me is Path of Exile, but Path of Exile demands even more time, so I can't really play it because it's there's so much min-maxing you can do, and like the build variety is pretty much endless. You literally can have an application called Path of Building, which is an offline fan-made application that has all the stuff in there, the skill tree and the gems and the gear and stuff. You can just like plan your build out and spend hours just doing that before even playing the game. And then do it all over again once you get sick of whatever build you did. And it's just, there's so much content. It's unbelievable.
Weird.
I love it.
I'm glad that things are out there for people like that. I mean, I know that people play Destiny like that. I don't, because I just like to have fun with it. And like, I hate the meta. And you see so many people who like go in and like they play the meta, and it's a bunch of casuals. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, dude, just because like you're playing the meta by having, your Fellwinter's Lie and like whatever the other thing is right now, it doesn't make you any better at it. So like I like to play counter meta because I just like feeling better than bad people.
You probably like Path of Exile then. There's a lot of like off meta builds that people come up with, and like wild sort of stuff like that. Yeah. I tend to try and do the same, yeah. It's always fun to sort of play a bit differently.
Well, it's also too, it's like you look at metas and some things, and it's like it might not necessarily be fun to you,
Exactly.
and like I don't like the Destiny meta generally because it's playing with weapons I don't normally use, and weapons I don't particularly like if it's one that I do use. Like a previous season, it was like this really slow RPM auto rifle was like the big meta weapon, and I was just like, this thing sucks. Like I get why people like it. It's high impact, and for people who aren't good with auto rifles, they can just plug headshots. But then I'm all like, give me my high RPM stuff, and I'm doing the same as they are. It's, the meta. But,
yeah.
Well, Kris, unfortunately, I'm out of like show questions. But before I let you go, there's a little bit I have that I like to call the 5 questions. Now, for you and for any new viewers who might not be aware, the 5 questions are a series of 5 questions that I prepared before the show that have nothing to do with anything we've talked about so far. And I hope that you are stretched because you need to throw another dab out there.
I do too. All right, let's do a good one. My headset nearly flew off.
That's fine. It didn't, and that's what matters. So 5 questions. This is actually going to be, this is the last night I went through and I collected all of the good questions that I've asked every guest previous to this. And I compiled them into one big spreadsheet, and I used a random number generator to randomly pick your 5 questions today.
Awesome.
So, and so you're the first person who is completely getting this at random. So, question number 1, what is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably Triceratops. I think they're like pretty cool looking. Yeah.
Solid pick.
Very interesting design.
They really are. I will say this is something I found out recently because I'm a bit of a dinosaur aficionado. I never grew out of my dinosaur phase as a kid, and it has only gotten more of a problem as I've grown up. They did a test with Triceratops to find out if it could actually charge a T-Rex with its horns. And they found out that the skull structure is not actually strong enough. So they literally are there just for show.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like T-Rex don't know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's better to look dangerous than actually be dangerous.
Yeah. Functionally. Big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't hurt yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. Question number 2. T-shirts or polo shirts?
T-shirts. Yeah. I don't think I own a polo shirt.
I own a couple for work. That's
yeah, I have in the past for that as well.
Yeah. All right. So question number 3. If you had to pick a profession other than game development, what would you like to be?
I'd like to have like a dog shelter, and just like, look after dogs. Yeah.
Dude, you are the second person this week who has either who has voiced a large level of interest in dog shelters. What was his name? Jose, the other day, was working on a game called What the Pup. When he was living in Los Angeles, he couldn't own a dog because he didn't have the time for it, so he volunteered at a dog shelter. So, yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's
kind of weird how that works out.
It is, yeah.
Penguins are epic, of course. Suggests penguins. Cass says cats.
Penguins. I don't know how many penguins there are. Actually, there are penguins here, native to Australia.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
You do have penguins, as does South Africa and parts of South America.
Yeah.
And penguins, just so you know, while I have no problem with penguins, I do also own 4 cats.
I love cats. Yeah. I love all animals.
I love most animals, except for a large portion of the ones that live in Australia.
Yeah, look, I'm not super keen on them either. My house actually gets a lot of spiders.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I completely forgot monitor lizards. You guys have those.
Those things are pretty cool. Yeah, they won't attack you unless you provoke them.
Yeah, I know, but they're just they're waiting for you. They're just sitting there like, what's up? What's up? Yeah, you want to go? You want to go? You want to go? Come on. Come on. Oh, yeah, you step over here. Yeah, you best go back to your car. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, and he looks over his friends and he's all like, yo, I scared the shit out of that dude.
That's pretty much exactly what happened to me on a school camp once. Yeah. The teachers were all freaked out, and it basically just walked into the campsite and just sat right in the middle of where we were all sitting. So we had to peace out for a little bit until it moved on. Yeah. And they're huge. It was like longer than I was tall as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're a couple meters long.
Yeah.
You know, especially like the big ones, you know, and then of course, going back in the fossil record, and not even too deep in the fossil record, you had Megalania, and that thing was, you know, thing was like meters long.
That's insane.
Yeah, or for my American friends, many feet, many feet. So, yeah. Question number 4: can you hack the Gibson?
I don't actually know what that reference is to.
Not a single goddamn person has. It's a reference to one of my favorite movies as a teenager, and it was called Hackers, strangely enough, and it involved hacking a supercomputer, the Gibson, to catch a worse hacker.
I might have seen it.
It had young Angelina Jolie in it.
Oh yeah. I know the one. I think
Yeah, love that movie.
Oh, what's that one with Ferris Bueller in it, or the actor who plays Ferris Bueller? Yeah, War Games. Yeah, I loved that one as a kid.
Yeah, it was like if hackers had like stakes.
Yeah,
it's the best way to put it. Well, so far you have done not terribly bad at the 5 questions. Of course, there are no points for them. The only person you have to impress is me. So we're on to the final question, and I sit here and I'm looking at this question, and I know that there is going to be a bit of a cultural difference in terms of what some of these words mean.
Okay.
So, which do you prefer, jelly or jam? And I don't mean like Jell-O. I mean like jam that doesn't have the bits in it.
That's an interesting question. So we don't really, I don't know of jam that doesn't have the bits in it. I guess that's like a spread, right?
Yeah, it's a fruit spread, or a fruit preserve spread.
Okay, so but the stuff that has the bits in it, that's like the real stuff, right?
Well, that's what we call jam. I'm not going to say anything is more real than the other.
would jelly be like the sweeter,
Yeah.
like more sugary but less healthy? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, neither of them are particularly healthy in the U.S., but
Whatever has the fruit bits in it. Yeah, I like
right.
that stuff.
That would be jam.
Strawberries.
Yeah, strawberry jam is a big favorite here in the U.S. Not for me. I'm not a fan of strawberries, nor am I a fan of jam. So,
Oh wow.
bonus question: who's your favorite mod?
Cass is a mod in the Discord for Lucen, so I can't answer that. I'd say you're all my favorite. Yeah.
Well, I would say that my favorite mod is Duckus. This is Duckus. He is the kind of the stream mascot. I mean, the real answer here would be fictional cat, but he's not Duckus. So, also Duckus has goes on many adventures to help guests. So, what's that? Okay, he is going to be on his way to Australia, and I don't know how he's going to help you, but he's going to get there, and he's going to be helpful.
Stuck in 2-week quarantine first.
I mean, he's a bird. He can't carry it. He's not a dog, a cat, or a bat. So, well, I mean, we don't really know that bats were the original vector. There is some thinking that it could have been pangolins, but we do know that cats and dogs can get it and be asymptomatic carriers.
That's scary. Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, dude, they did a test on a COVID test on a tiger in the Brooklyn Zoo, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, wait a second, a tiger in the Brooklyn Zoo can get a fucking COVID test, and I can't?
That's so strange. Yeah.
Is
there
it?
like a shortage, or are they just not? Like, is the criteria really strict there now?
The criteria originally was very strict, even if you had been exposed, which thankfully I hadn't, and I haven't actually gone to try and get a test. Now we're at a point where anyone who wants one can get one. But dude, like, I don't know how you guys handled it, but like, we were the textbook for how not to handle a pandemic.
Yeah, I've been following it a bit. Your cases have been like pretty high, like scary.
Yeah, like, let's just be honest. Like, we continue to be a like textbook example of how to do everything wrong.
Yeah, it's worrying. Here we sort of had quite a few screw ups as well early on. Had a similar thing with the testing. Like, you couldn't get tested originally. You couldn't get tested unless you'd traveled internationally and met all the clinical criteria for like the symptoms. So pretty much no one was getting tested at the beginning, and then eventually they widened that criteria to the point where now anyone who has a sore throat can go get tested. But
nice.
Yeah, I think globally pretty much every government in the world screwed up to some degree. I think New Zealand is probably the only one that handled it appropriately, which is immediately lock everything down. And a couple of the Asian countries like Singapore and Taiwan also did really well, and South Korea.
Yeah, I was about to say South Korea did really well. Relative to the United States, every Asian country did really well.
True.
Like, I heard Cambodia did really well, and like, I was relatively surprised by that. But damn, dude, like, New Zealand just killed it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Well, before we start talking too much about terrible, depressing subjects, I am going to say, Kris, you have been a lovely guest, and it has been so wonderful having you today. Aside from... Oh, sorry.
It's been great to join you, yeah. Thanks.
Well, aside from at Lucen Game on Twitter, and of course, tracking Lucen down, Lucen, on Steam and wishlisting, is there anywhere else that people should be looking to get updates and news on the game?
Yeah, I have a devlog series on YouTube as well.
All right. Just search. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I went ham on blocking links in chat because, so Fictional Cat, you know what to do if you can track it down real quick. Otherwise,
I'll send it to you on Discord.
Well, I mean, I can't touch Discord. I'm stuck in the internet. But
Yes.
other than that, if you're watching on YouTube, 1, thank you so much. 2, it's going to be down in the links section, or down in the links below in the description box. And while you're headed down there, why don't you go ahead, hit that subscribe button, maybe give it a quick thumbs up, and hit the bell so you know whenever I go, not live, but whenever I upload one of these episodes, which usually happens within less than 24 hours of the original stream. So, yeah. But, well, Kris, again, thank you so much for being on the show. Best of luck to you through all of the rest of your development stuff. Duckus will be down there in 4 or 5 days.
Look forward to meeting him.
He is very, very good at nothing, but it's okay. Just give him a few pets, say thank you very much. He'll be on his way back. And he'll feel like he just saved the world. So, it's been a pleasure having you here. I'm going to switch over to a different camera angle real quick, and I will talk to you in just a minute. And I will say to my lovely audience, thank you so much for being here. Lumino Games, Penguins Are Epic. Thank you so much for the follows today. Sabby, thank you for getting here late. Just for you, Chroma. Cass, Sabby, Chroma, Earl, Fictional Cat, Nick, everybody who was participating in chat today, thank you so very much. And if I missed your name, I'm sorry. Gonna be off for the weekend. I have 2 shows lined up for sure next week. Monday, and then I don't remember exactly when, but going to be trying a few new things as well. Now, that said, anyone who's here on the show and all of that stuff, if you have any suggestions or anything for future guests on the show, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at THOM Clancy. The H is silent, but very important. Or shoot me an email, thattomclancyshow@gmail.com, and I'll see what I can do about getting those people on the show. So until then, everybody, just remember, wear your mask, drink some water, have some vitamins, and be kind to one another. So thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you on the next episode of That Tom Clancy Show. Good night.